Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to our life. I've been having some interesting times going through our story, and we've gone partway through the introductory before I had to just stop, as it has been taking quite a bit of time. But let us finish that up. I don't know how I'm going to explain that guy to my dad. You burst into a fit of laughter, trying to imagine the conversation. So, you like it when people say all that sort of stuff about people? It's okay to do it? Never mind. At least my job is done. We saw the new neighbor, and now we can go meet up with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. Give Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. Choose your feelings toward Baxter this step. It can be the same or different from how you feel towards Cove. You know what? If you're a crush, might as well, because funny, haha. Begin step 3 at direct crush? Sure. Sure, let's do high initiative. You thought he was charming. You weren't really sure when, but at some point, Baxter won you over. You were curious to get him to know him better. Laughing quietly, you wondered how Baxter would fit into the rest of the neighborhood. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter's side. You both started making your way toward the town. A little while later, you and Cove reached the main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I felt my phone vibrate. You dug your cell phone out and looked with a satisfied grin. There's a new message. You opened a new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." That's pretty funny. Immediately from where you stood, you started swirling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. I can see you looking. Come on. The message was sent and you were back to looking around, scanning for any signs of movements and familiar faces, but they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. You sent your own joking text. If you want to keep hiding, Cove and I can just do our own stuff without you, is what you decided on. You smirked, hitting send on that message. Cove looked at you curious, raising an eyebrow. What's happening? Before you can even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming from behind the backside wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Cove took a step in their direction. He grinned and waved for them to get closer. Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street.
Hi.
Oh, I love her hairstyle. It's adorable. Hi, I hope you won't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
Hey, buddies. Hey, she looks really nice. I don't know what that's called, but I really like that kind of thing. Imagine might make the going to the bathroom hard if it's one single piece. Hey, it's cute outfit though. Love Miranda's shirt though. Hey. I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? They started giggling again. Terry glanced at Miranda, wondering what their story should be.
Ooh.
It was magic. Jesting in a vaguely whimsical manner, Terry went along with the decision. And magicians never reveal their secrets. Ooh. That's fair. Terry then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him into a painfully tight hug. Finally here, it's been so long. What took you? He did his best to eke out his reply with his chest being compressed.
Sorry.
Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either.
So?
Cove. Terry poked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule by this time yesterday.
No way.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with Orca activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California affiliation, also known as Orca. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. Ooh. I'd say I was an Orca member and introduced Cove to it, because that's funny. The big Smash event for the year is coming up, isn't it? Yeah, there's not much to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two. Even if it goes really bad, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true. Hey, guess what else? You don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go. I would like a meal now. Pricking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Yeah, I'm hungry. Time to head out. The four of you headed to town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. Miranda was the first to offer a suggestion. So I don't know about everyone else, but I like some chow mein. Chinese is fine with me. Everyone, entirely serious, Terry nodded. That would be amazing right about now. Yeah, I can agree with her. I wonder if Terry has a thing for Miranda, because that would be interesting. The group lazily wandering shifted into a purposeful journey just like that, and as Terry predicted, the conversation was able to continue while on the way to food. You and Cove finished explaining what was coming up with your Orca fundraising efforts. All the talk of beaches reminded Terry of her own personal goals. She'd been considering getting a lifeguard training. Cove and Luna can keep our ocean clean, and I can keep it safe. Such selfishness was inspiring for the listeners, though Terry butted in before anyone else was too impressed.
No way.
Don't be too proud of me yet, I haven't even signed up. Laughter burst out in the little crowd. Miranda took a turn to chat about her life next. She picked out some 5-week summer courses at the community college. They wouldn't be starting until later in the month. It was exciting, though. Not content speaking solely for herself for long, Miranda mentioned good news for someone else. Specifically that her older brother Jude had a new boyfriend. You vaguely knew who Jude was, but even though you'd been friendly with Miranda for 5 years, he was in an out-of-state college back then. He was in his mid-20s, and you were pretty sure of that. You knew for certain that he had his own place with a real career and everything. Jude existed in a whole other stage of life than you, and hanging out with his much little sister's friends had never been on his to-do list. Now that he was accomplishment with being taken in by, Terry, who had heard it, and Miranda, who had said it, were equally dazed. He's been secretly for a few years now. It seems like he just wasn't interested in anybody, and that was true, basically. There wasn't anyone here for him. He's dating a friend he's known online for a long time. They've been playing games together since college. This is my theory, but he might not have dated anyone else because all he wanted was to hang out more with that good friend. But no one ever said that you say that to him. He never even hinted that there might be a thing there until one day they were suddenly dating. But besides that, what's funny is that I don't even know his name. Jude didn't talk about him to us until they already known each other for forever. And now that Jude has started talking about him all the time, he just calls him Grant.
Huh?
Is his name not Grant? It's not. It's an inside joke about how they talked about school grants one time when they were first becoming friends. And they thought it would be funny how Grant was also a name, and we're all going, oh, I bet Grant could get a grant. Then it escalated to joking about Grant being named after some person called Grant. His friend made Grant his username for everything, and it's still today. You barely had a concept of Miranda's brother, and that one explanation was everything you knew about his boyfriend, but the story gave a real impression of who they were. Wow, Godspeed, Judy. Never let Grant go. That's nice. I bet they're really happy. Well, I'm glad it's working out with them.
Thank you.
Thanks. Trying to follow the incredible story of Grant proved difficult. Miranda trailed off. The current conversation was well and truly over, so Cove took a chance to speak. This has been on my mind the whole time, but there was never really a good chance to mention it before. What is it? There's a new person renting a condo in our neighborhood. Really? From one tale of an unusual character to another, Cove spoke of Baxter Ward as if he was a local legend. His name's Baxter. He's in college, though it doesn't look like he's much older than us. Maybe Miranda's age? He's not going to be what you expect, no matter how much you try and guess. The description put Terry on edge of a non-existent seat, and she was about to fall off it somehow.
What?
A new man in town who's our age? Cove Holden has been holding out on us, as usual. I won't guess. You tell me what he's like. He's a charmer. I can't wait to see him again. Intriguing. He added on to your initial description with a couple of thoughts of his own. More explanation was required to make any sense of it. Baxter's, bold. He says whatever he wants, and he dresses dramatically. Everything on him is black and white, even his hair. Huh? Cove had been correct. That kind of man had not been considered in the realm of possibility for Terry or Miranda. But I don't care that he has the style or that he's not shy. What I don't get is the way he acts so impressed by strangers who have done nothing. He said he wanted to hang out with us, me and Luna, this summer and all this other stuff, and that's the very first time we met. I have no idea why he cares, or why it's so easy for him to say that to people he knows nothing about. So you got his number?
No.
Cove's eyes squinted and his nostrils scrunched inward from the incredible scrunch that suggestion had given him. Considering the picture that had been painting, he couldn't understand why Terry would imagine anything like that had happened. I'll ask later. Then do it, and you should give it, and you should too, Cove. You don't meet a social butterfly like that every day. The black and white color scheme proves he's a rare specimen.
Ooh.
This Baxter is flapping around town, coming to appreciate our two good buds, Cove and Luna, right? Like flower buds, and he's a butterfly. Terry, that pun is such a stretch. Well, he sounds like my kind of guy, and we can always use more friends. No, it's very possible to have as many friends as you need. This was escalating. The more fired up Terry got, the more Cove and Miranda wanted to shield themselves from the embers. I know what you mean, Terry. The group of four is evenly split between the sociable and the shy. That line was drawn clearly with the discussion. No longer moving forward, Terry stood there with her hands on her hips.
I'm on it.
I'm gonna meet Baxter right now. Of course you are. Cove completely stalled except for his lips, which sputtered at a response. What about getting food? I know the way. Y'all can go ahead. I'll be back before the food hits the table. You'll see it. Terry's light chuckles contrasted massively with a hefty sigh from Cove. You're actually going to a stranger's house and ask for his number. That's the plan. Yeah. Why do you gotta be like this? If I wasn't like this, me and you never would have been friends ourselves. And I probably wouldn't have been friends with Randy either. I don't live in this town. I can't miss an opportunity to connect. Otherwise, without me leaving it up to chance or fate or Cove's ability to have a relationship progress on his own, I don't have all year for that. He'll be gone before then.
We're cool.
Not to insult you for going slow, Cove. You're good all the way you are. Baxter can be a butterfly and you can be a snail. There was an affection in Terry's extended metaphor, but Cove still frowned at the almost certainly correct assessment of how his connection with Baxter was going to develop.
No.
I don't like snails. How about a sea turtle? How about being a sea turtle then? Okay, I'm a turtle. Good, you can accept that. Order me the General Tso's chicken, and I'll get his number. Inspired by the aim of her meal, or perhaps her meal being inspired by their son's mission, Terry gave a military salute before flipping around. Miranda and Cove simply watched in disbelief. Hold on, I'll go with you. Luna? Cove gave you a halting yell, but he had no intention of stopping you. He just had more foresight than you had in that instance. What are we supposed to order for you, then? Oh, You slowed out your pace down and glanced over your shoulder. You called out, Lo mein.
All right.
He let you go, and you found when you looked ahead that Terry had stopped in her tracks. She waited for you after you announced your intention of joining.
Thanks.
I knew you were a bud. The trip wasn't backwards long. You'd barely left your neighborhood before the announcement of this change of plans, but there was no time to lose. Together you sped down the sidewalk around the bend. In only a few minutes you turned to the ever-familiar sloped streets. Terry's feet took her halfway down the road, smack dab between your house and Cove. It was a force of habit. Which is his? She asked the question so naturally you almost missed realizing that she wouldn't have known where to go even if you had decided to come with her. Almost. But you had to come because you didn't want her to go alone. Being able to help is what you were there for. You had pointed a finger to one of the rectangular houses back up higher on the hill that she'd passed right by. That's it. Glad you're here, let's go. She hoofed it in reverse upward to what had been the Forbidden Fortress, though the former danger that haunted those halls had been released and instead was claimed by a proper gentleman. Terry fearlessly rang the doorbell. She had never understood the true terror of the Donnells, but one might think there had been some hesitation in the action. After all, she was still approaching the home of someone so unfamiliar to her she hadn't known which house it was. But they would have thought wrong. Terry remained fully confident in the decision. You stood at her side, with hardly more justification to doing this. The door opened, and there was a man you had met 30 minutes ago. Bax had said goodbye for today when he left then. What an overestimation of how long it would be before you once again showed him your face. Oh, you must have believed that he said what he said, because seeing you raise his brow and put onto a questioning edge an explanation. Why were you back? After the initial recognition, though, all of his features smoothed out into his default expression, lidded eyes and a curved smile.
My pleasure.
Luna, it's a pleasure to see you. Adieu. Baxter's head angled squarely at Terry. It was a playful tilt. You weren't there before. Still, keeping his face turned to Terry, his deep brown eyes shifted towards you. Luna must be popular to have such a rotation of collection of companies. I expected as much. Baxter's blinks, and it was as if he had never taken focus from Terry for even a second. His attention was fixed on her. Attention was on her so fixedly. He held out a hand decorated with sleek black rings to her, and then gave her a cordial introduction.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I am Baxter Ward. How nice to meet you. The offered hand received a sprightly slap, a side five in place of a shake. I'm Terry, friend of your neighbor's. His interest was piqued. Baxter was far less subtly looked between the individuals making a house call, trying to gauge the motivation for it. With no hint to go off of, he settled for asking directly.
How are you?
I see. And what can I do for you, my neighbor and a friend of my neighbor's? Ask Terry. This is her thing. Terry. Luna here and Cove, not here, talked about you moving in for the summer. It sounded cool to me. Decided to see you and your black and white hair myself. The reason people were unexpectedly at his doorstep had been revealed. Baxter's responsible to such an intrusion was pleased. He instinctively brushed a few strands of dyed hair, smiling all the while. Well, thank you. You sounded cool, and you are. Let's swap numbers. Really? This town is truly neighborly. I'm not from this place. Terry's reason for seeing him was far more tenuous than Baxter assumed. She didn't live in the neighborhood, or the one next past, or anywhere in Sunset Bird. She laughed heartily over it, and Baxter snickered much more wryly. Neither of them had a care in the world. And this social circle from wherever they come from, and that's so friendly. Even better. Does that mean I can have your number?
Certainly.
That would be excellent.
All right.
Good. Terry pulled out her cracked cell. Baxter did the same thing at the same time. His phone case was black and white. No surprise there. They hovered closer to each other, bent over the screens and tapping away. After a mistype or two, numbers were exchanged. Thank you. Welcome. You can have mine too. I can add you to my contacts. His head remained bowed, but his gaze lifted towards you. His cheeks went up in a in a sparkling smile. Of course, I'd love that. Baxter waited for you to get your own phone out and repeated his number. You got it down and gave yours in return. The contact name on his list was Luna across the street with an exclamation point. Perfect. He slid his phone into his back pocket.
Honestly.
I must admit, I was not expecting this vacation to go as well as it has been. Even with a more generous estimation of my sociability, I imagine I need a week or more to find someone to exchange numbers with. Instead, I have 2 new friends the very instant I arrived. Oh, Baxter, this isn't even all. Since you've seen me, Luna, and Cove, it's only a matter of time before you meet Miranda too. And there's still Liz, obviously. Maybe even Lee will make an appearance. The news of even more strangers being invited into Baxter's vacation had no visible impact on him. He replied contented and calm. I look forward to all of that. Yeah. As you should. Now we need to make haste. There are other matters we must attend to. Lunch awaits. That was the one way to put it. Baxter's formal tone seemed to be rubbing off on Terry.
See you.
Ah, then I won't keep you. I hope to see you again soon, though. Please feel free to text or call me at any time. Have a good day. Same. Exactly. Enjoy your day, too. Come on, Luna. Like 2 shots, you went up off the road. Baxter didn't move an inch from the entryway as you left. Neither you nor Terry spoke on the race to the restaurant. The clock was ticking. Every second longer you took could be another drop in degrees for the warmth of your meal. You stopped to catch your breath only when you were under the shaded awning of the Chinese restaurant. Terry wiped her fully exposed forehead with her palm.
Finally!
Making friends works up an appetite. Yep, good thing we are about to eat. You entered the building together leisurely, pretending to be a normal people who arrived for lunch in a totally reasonable way. Terry explained to the hostess up front that the table should already be prepared for her and you with the 2 others. One who was short in shorts, cute, freckled, big purple eyes, and a lacy top. She shined, probably didn't say much, but the hostess politely stopped Terry babbling with a raise of hand before she even began to describe Cove. That was plain to get the idea across. You were directed toward the center of the dining area. Miranda and Cove were there, speaking quietly in front of them. Nothing more than 4 cups of water and plate of 3 spring rolls. The dish was supposed to have 4. As sure as Baxter loved black and white, you knew it was Cove who ate the one that was missing. Even if the food technically ended up in Cove's stomach before the 2 of you turned, an appetizer had to be cheating. Terry meant the main course and it was not there. You could still take it as a win. She certainly did. Hey, we made it.
Hey!
Terry, Luna, hi. Creases lingering on Cove's face should have been worrying about the results of the unexpected pit stop until the moment you both appeared. But since you already showed up so victoriously, he was reassured enough to already joke about it. You barely made it, you know. We ordered a while ago and this appetizer's already here. Ah, close, but making it is still making it. Did my good friends get what I requested? The sound and primness of Terry's speech was lost on Miranda. She didn't understand that bit of Baxter had been brought to the restaurant with the 2 of you. Yeah, I got it. General Chow chicken for you and lo mein for Luna.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. One of the empty seats was finally filled as Terry plopped down satisfied after a job well done. You took the last remaining chair. So, did you actually see him and get his number? He did. Cove glanced your way with his wavy brows raised in surprise. "We" was clearly the word that he was on his mind. He continued with comfortable ease. I got his number too.
Huh.
Wow. The group had settled into the usual rhythm when the proper meals arrived a few minutes later. You ate and talked, and not once did the topic return to the element of the unknown, Baxter. But he remained stuck in a corner of your mind. After many seasons in the sleepy town, you had the expectations of what the summer of 2016 would look like. It had not been too easy to imagine. Sure, you graduated high school. My life wasn't going to be the same anymore, but it was too soon for that to warp the existence you had over a decade. At least you thought so. And yet, there was Baxter. It was something that you're not counted in a single one of your vacation plans. You couldn't have until barely an hour ago. Now his number is on your phone. A new world, one you had no grasp on, was already poking its way into your old routine, and it had come from the form of a black and white ballroom dancer. You were lucky. The final days of familiar comfort had come, but the first sight beyond that was charming. A young man was asking you to spend time together. The rest of the afternoon and evening had passed by with a blink of an eye. When the night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. You and Cove had reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark in silence. You strolled along with a skip in your step. Days like today, filled with good food and good company, left you feeling energized. As you walked alongside Cove, you peered at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove stared silently ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It was a surprise when you didn't hear his voice all of a sudden. He still won't look at you. It feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. They're not. They changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true. The things that kept people together and you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own past now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You've been considering more and more, and ideas were starting to settle in your mind. You hoped to go to school full-time and to work full-time. And I guess also to focus on time that's not school or work, and that was the basics. For your career, you thought, work online. And maybe start your own business. I mean, I'm technically doing that with my channel now, with obviously doing work online, though I'm not earning it. I myself am not earning any money yet. I'm also technically doing art as well, which is kind of like my own business, though I haven't gotten any sales with that. Probably a bit too expensive, but who's to say? And then I am trying to do some writing as well. Obviously, I have a full-time job. Not going to go into details to potentially reveal specifics about me, but I do have a full-time job that's pretty interesting. But, it's definitely one of those things that's not something I fully enjoy. It's a bit stressful. And that was all. For your education, you thought you'll maybe attend a public university, take online classes, maybe it's, do I want to attend go to a private college? That was all. For yourself, you wanted to work on self-improvement on your own and to take some time to relax and try and figure out what you truly wanted, and that was all. And for what you wanted to do was stay local. It'll be all happening so soon. You have already applied to schools and jobs. And you've been open about your situation and everyone knew. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You had him consider some things for his future, but it's not anything that would have count as a real plan. Making it back home, you stopped in the middle of the street, Cove side. Cove looked at the ground for a moment, his mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right word to say. So, are you still thinking about what you want to do and stuff in Sunset Bird? Yeah, you remembered. Cove closed his eyes and nodded while he compressed his thoughts. He looked at you while he lifted his head. I decided on something. Well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arms, and then his expression grew more serious. I'm not going to decide on school or career, not this summer. I'm going to stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, and I'll keep doing my volunteer stuff and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want. Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall or next year. Maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening is happening. I'm not going to crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed and his tone tense. It was clear how much his expectations were weighing on him.
I guess
it'll be me and you right here for a while longer. His eyes were glossy. You weren't going to be separated. That meant a great deal to him. You're glad the two of you would be in Sunset Bird together. Elated, you smiled. Cove looked relieved when you were happy with this turn of events. I'll see you tomorrow, Luna. I'm already looking forward to it. Night. He had pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet it couldn't have been more reassuring feeling. He returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as he could.
Good night.
Good night. He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then Cove started walking away, but then you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will he be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow? He hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most of every moment you had this summer. And obviously I had to purchase the DLC. Apply special moments centered around backstory. Special epilogue in Step 4. You need to fulfill these conditions. Play through all 5 backstories. Step 3 moments. To do so, you must choose between Frond or Crush, with backstory in Step 3, choosing indifferent will lock backstory Step 3 moments and epilogues. You must include backstory during the hang moment in Step 3, which can be accessed during both Cove Step 3 moments and backstories. Then you'll have the option to play Baxter's epilogue during Step 4. You can only have one epilogue per playthrough, and you can make a save on the epilogue selection page to reload or pick another later. Baxter's DLCs can be friendship or romance story. So, okay. Good to know. I'll save the hang for last, because it looks like it might be similar with Derek's, how you can only do one or the other, but not both. Okay. But with that, I'm going to save this here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path wherever it might lead you into the future. Goodbye, everyone.